The video this week is of a painting that I wanted to kind of try and get done within a couple of days. I wanted to kind of start and finish it within a couple of days, just so I could kind of get myself into the practice of painting. I chose to, on the basis of watching other videos where other artists have kind of primed or prepped their canvas in acrylic first by doing a kind of acrylic underpainting and then doing an oil painting on top of it. I wanted to try this technique, so I've given that a little bit of a go. I'm Jenna and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I am an artist who is trying to kind of reinvigorate their art practice. Currently, I'm working on some paintings and we're seeing how that goes. I was quite surprised as to how quickly I managed to kind of get the underpainting done and down, and kind of like the gist of what I wanted to paint was there. There was a quality of the underpainting that I really enjoyed in terms of how I wanted to kind of develop it with oil paints. In some instances to not completely cover it, certainly with the plants. I didn't want to completely cover the plants because I liked the quality of how they actually turned out. I have not yet decided as to whether or not I prefer a layered technique where I am putting down layers of oil paint, kind of letting them dry and then kind of painting on top of them and building up layers that way, or whether or not I want to paint Alla Prima, which is kind of wet in wet technique, which essentially is you putting down oil paints and then kind of blending the oil paints while they're still wet. I think I probably prefer that methodology. Certainly when it comes to painting fur, it allows the blending of the fur to look a lot nicer. I'm not that interested in getting every single tiny hair on the body of an animal down perfectly, like the fur exactly as it should be. I want the general gist of it. I want the general feeling of the animal to kind of come across, which I feel like I did do in this painting. The proportions could be better. That is going to be something that I will work on as I go with each painting. I have mentioned in the video that, you know, sketching something out first and then painting from a sketch should give you good kind of proportions, or should give you a better way in which to make a painting more accurately so that it's not completely off. My sketch was off. The painting isn't as off as the sketch was. I did manage to correct it, but there's work to do there, and so I'm going to be practicing that as I go along. So I managed to get the kind of underpainting done, which I'm going to show you in a second. One of the things that I've discovered is that I kind of tried to kind of sketch it out in pencil first, and I'd kind of done the grid on kind of Minxie and on her face and on her body shape and everything, and I was trying to kind of sketch it out And I thought I had got it right, but it looked really quite wrong. So I thought, I will just correct it when I get to paint it. It is said that if you cannot draw something, that you're not going to be able to paint it. Or if the drawing is wrong, the painting is going to be wrong. And that I would have ordinarily agreed with. However, my drawing was quite wrong. Everything was off. But for some reason, when I put paint down, I seem to be able to block in the shapes and the kind of the relation of, you know, one part of the body to the other. I seem to manage to do it much easier and much better in paint than I do with a pencil. I think that's kind of always been my issue. I haven't ever really been somebody who has enjoyed drawing with pencils or enjoyed trying to draw and kind of do things accurately with pencil, and paint seems so much easier to me. So clearly that's just my medium. Paint is the way that I do things, and actually I think from now on, no, hang on, Minxie, sorry, I'm just trying to actually stop Minx from rubbing herself on the painting of herself. It's probably not absolutely perfect, but yeah, I'm quite enjoying it thus far. This is a fairly quick afternoon session. I maybe did all of it within maybe about an hour in total, maybe a little bit longer. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. So this is how it's looking at the moment. This is how it's looking. I really, really like the kind of quality of the paint for the leaves. I'm not entirely sure if I will cover those with oil, because I kind of like the way they look, and I also really like the way the kind of the white acrylic is kind of cut into the leaf shapes. I don't know, it's got something really nice about the quality of it. I don't want to kind of overwork this. What I probably will do is maybe with oil I'll just kind of add in some darker greens for kind of contrast. In terms of Minxie, I think I've got her basic shape and her kind of face shape. I think it's actually not too bad. It might need some correcting still. It's possible that this area is too chunky still and needs to kind of come in a little bit. But we can always correct that when we come to do the oil painting. Yeah, I'm looking forward to actually kind of getting into doing some more work in oil. So yeah, looking forward to that. I went to Catsitter, which is a store here in London. I think they have stores all over the UK, possibly maybe only in London. No, they do have all in the UK because I've been to one in Glasgow. Anyway, so I quickly went in because I wanted to buy some brushes. Of course, I bought more things. So I got 2 more of these wooden panels, which I have been working on and really enjoy the hard surface. I usually work on regular canvas, so I'm trying these out and I'm actually really, really enjoying them. So I'm going to be using some more of these. I got a couple of canvas boards. I'll show you these. Hang on 2 seconds. These are just small, kind of thin canvas boards, and I got these actually to work on with my nieces because they're coming down for a long weekend, and we're gonna paint some cats because my nieces love cats too, so that's for them. And then I got some oil sticks. Now, I got a pack of oil sticks when I was in Bath. So I got this in Bath when I was there at the very cute little art store. And actually, of course, the reason why I immediately wanted it was because it has all of the colours of a tabby cat, which I may use for the Minxie painting. It would be foolish not to, given that I have them. But what I also wanted to do is I wanted to use larger oil sticks to kind of draw and to kind of be a little bit more loose on with kind of like the plants and maybe even the cats as well. I'm not sure. Anyway, so I got a black and a white so that I can kind of mix greys with those. And then I got this green, which is chrome oxide green, which looked kind of like a sap green to me. And I was thinking if I wanted to make it kind of darker, I just mix in some red, and if I wanted to make it lighter, I just mix in some yellow. So I got some cadmium red light, and I got some cadmium yellow light. So those are the oil sticks. Now brushes. I wanted these angle brushes because I like them to kind of for detail and for cutting in with, and I find actually they're really, really good for, I find that these are really, really good for cat hair, so fur. So I wanted to get these in sable or kind of sable synthetic, or synthetic sable, whatever you want to call them. But in the synthetic sable and or sable brushes, you don't get angled. I think these are for kind of acrylic and for craft for some reason. So I got some flat-headed brushes, and we'll see whether or not these are any good for me to use, and I'll give these a go as well. So yeah, those are my supplies for now.
Tudo que restou dessa fantasia foi sentimento e a fotografia. Tudo que ficou foi uma poesia e o eterno amor nessa alma vazia. Para não cair, não há mais nada do que desistir. O tempo se arrastou e levou as chances, não sobrou mais nada. Depois da avalanche, tudo que restou dessa fantasia foi sentimento e a fotografia. Tudo que ficou poesia e o eterno amor nessa alma vazia, contando os passos para não cair. Não há mais nada do que desistir.
of this painting has been done on camera, which you've been able to see, and you've kind of been able to come along with me to see how I've done it. However, the last kind of 10% I did off camera, just so I could kind of get the eyes and the kind of some of the detail right. I haven't completely 100% finished the painting. I still need to kind of figure out a way in which to kind of render whiskers in oil paint. I need to kind of practice with some brushes that I've got, and then we'll see whether or not I actually end up putting them in anyway. I think the overall feeling of my cat Minxie is in this painting. Certainly it's from a picture that I'd taken a couple of years ago when I had a large parlour palm in my room. As all of my cats like to chew on plants, and Minxie especially, this particular plant bore the brunt of Minxie's chewing on it, and so therefore it looks quite raggedy in life. In fact, it's actually been reduced right down to maybe 2 or 3 fronds. That's the state of it right now. So in terms of how it looks in the painting, it's quite true to life, and I think it kind of gives me a sense and a feeling of a plant and Minxie at a particular point of time. I really enjoyed painting this particular piece. The fur, painting the fur in oil paint is just chef's kiss, lush. And I want to do a lot more paintings of all 3 of our cats and all of the cats that I look after as well. I've got lots and lots and lots of reference material. I could probably paint cats for all eternity at this stage. I hope you've enjoyed watching along as I painted this, and that you are having a creative week wherever you are, and I'm going to see you next time.